things like that. So, let's talk about apologetics. I've got a short video, play that here in a second. So, but on the top of your sheet, I think you've got 1 Peter 3:15. It says, "But sanctify Christ as Lord in your hearts, always being ready to make a defense to everyone who asks you to give an account for the hope that is in you. Do this with gentleness and reverence." So, apologetics. I'm going to give you the definition, and I think I've got blanks on your sheet for you to fill in. Apologetics. A blank defense of Christianity in light of blank raised and offering positive blank on its behalf. Any guesses as to what those might be?
Reason.
A reasoned defense of Christianity, yep. In light of?
Questions.
Close.
Arguments.
Objections.
Objections.
There you go. Objections. Good. Both those were correct. If you want to put those in, that's fine. And offering positive
feedback?
evidences on its behalf. Good guesses. Okay. So, why apologetics? We do this reasoned defense because reason is, we don't want to sound like people who don't know what we're talking about. We don't want to say things that don't make sense. We want to make sure that when we defend the faith, what we're saying is actually true. We don't just believe something because we've pulled it out of the air, because we just want to believe it really bad. A lot of times in the Christian faith, people who don't understand Christianity, they say that Christianity is just a leap of faith. Like, there's not really any evidence based on it. You just have to have faith. Faith for faith's sake, right? That is absolutely not true. If you want to believe in Christianity, then you should go after your doubts, which is what we're going to do. Every reason that we have not to believe. So, if you were to say, here's some reasons why I or my friends question Christianity, what would you say they are? Regardless of whether or not it's yours, but just give me some things that people say, see, Christianity's not true because of blank.
How can God die?
Okay. What else?
Past experience in your own life, like personal experience, where it seems like things haven't happened the way God says they should.
Okay. So, bad things happen to us.
Yeah.
Can't see God.
Okay.
The Trinity doesn't make sense.
Trinity, what? Okay.
Science.
Okay. It doesn't, my faith doesn't seem to line up with science. Okay?
Other religions make it confusing.
Yep. How do we know that this is the true religion and all the other ones are wrong?
Apparent contradictions.
Okay. Okay.
The Bible was written by men. People make mistakes.
Yep. How do we know, and along with that, how do we know that it wasn't all changed?
Yeah.
You know, maybe the Bible was written over a 6,000 year period. How do we know that it's not just a bunch of legends and people didn't redact it and change it over hundreds of years or thousands of years, right? Anything else big? So, good examples here. When we're defending our faith, when somebody comes to us with this stuff, our answer better not be, well, that's just what I believe. It's just my faith. Just join me, will you? But it sounds stupid. Don't, they go, Christianity sounds stupid to me because bad things happen. Where was God when my parents got divorced, right? I can't see him. Come on, give me something real. And you're like, well, no, you just have to have faith. So, a reasoned defense. Okay, that's why we don't want to not listen to objections. We want to face every objection that we've got and have an answer for it with gentleness and with respect. Okay, so think we've got a... So then underneath that, I've got a bigot. Has anybody here been labeled a bigot before? Like, somebody, like, just legitimately can't stand you because you're a bigot? Or they've called you that? Okay. A bigot. Let's fill in the blanks here. A person who obstinately or blank devoted to his or her own opinions and prejudices. Huh?
Unthinkingly?
I can't even remember what the blank is. Oh, yes, now I can. Because I saw it on my computer screen. Person who obstinately or intolerantly is devoted to his or her own opinions and prejudices, especially one who regards or treats the members of a group as a racial or ethnic group or religious group with anger or intolerance. Okay? So,
What was the first word again?
intolerantly. Obstinately or intolerantly is devoted. I don't have is in there. There's another blank, and it's is. You just can't see the blank. But it doesn't mean, just because you can't see the blank doesn't mean it's there, right? Can't see it, doesn't. That was a joke. You guys are on. Okay. So, bigot. Somebody can label us bigots, and what a bigot is somebody who is extremely obstinate and intolerant of everybody around them. And media here, especially in this country, is really good at labeling us as bigots. Because then that way, they can dismiss us, right? So if I don't like Annette, if I don't like her, then what I can do is I can label her something I don't like. So I can be like, well, she's just dumb. Annette's just a big dummy. There. Now that I've labeled her a dummy, that means I don't have to listen to her anymore. See what I'm saying? So media can label us as bigots. They go, oh, they're just bigots. And then they can dismiss us. But here we've got a video I'd like us to watch, and then we'll see what we think of it. Do we have enough volume on this, Amy? You know?
I think it'll on more.
Okay, hang on. Yes, thank you.
Until you tell me, do you really believe?
Alright. Are we ready? On your mark. Get set.
When I meet somebody who claims to be religious, my first impulse is don't believe you. I don't believe you until you tell me. Do you really believe, for example, if they say they're Catholic, do you really believe that when a priest blesses a wafer, it turns into the body of Christ? Are you seriously telling me you believe that? Are you seriously saying that wine turns into blood? Mock them, ridicule them. In public, don't fall for the convention that we're all too polite to talk about religion. Religion is not off the table. Religion is not off limits. Religion makes specific claims about the universe which need to be substantiated and need to be challenged and, if necessary, need to be ridiculed with contempt.
Just in March, Richard Dawkins and others were on the Mall in Washington, D.C. for their Rally for Reason, an atheist march. 10,000 showed up. And Dawkins told the crowd they should ridicule religious people. Let me quote him. He says, mock them, ridicule them in public. Their beliefs are insane, therefore they should be ridiculed with contempt. It appears he's reading from an old script that goes all the way back to Hosea, isn't he?
You know, when I heard that and read this, I read it hours before my talk at the University of Hawaii. And interestingly, that the University of Hawaii has one of the leading departments globally on world religions. Some of the finest minds, years gone by, used to use some of their writings and so on. I began my talk by saying I support what Dawkins says, that we should ridicule people with religious belief And I would recommend that he begin that statement in Saudi Arabia and let him start. And the audience just roared, so they were maybe nasty comment to me. He is really complimenting this society of Christians by saying things like that because he can say it with impunity. I dare him to go to Saudi and do that. I dare him to go to Iran and do that. The least he will find out is that not all religions are created equal. So to make a statement like that reminded me of two other things. Remember as a youngster, I think I mentioned it in one of my books. I was in the city of Nagpur. I was in my 20s or early 30s preaching. And I saw a crowd gathering.
Okay, that's good enough there. Okay, so what... So Richard Dawkins, the first guy to talk, what did he say?
Christians are dumb and they need to be mocked.
Christians are dumb, they need to be mocked, they need to be openly ridiculed with contempt. Okay. And then Ravi Zacharias, the Indian guy that came on, who's a Christian, he's not Hindu, he's a wonderful Christian. What was his reaction to that?
He was upset about it.
Okay. And what did he say to object to that?
I dare you to go.
What do you suppose would happen to Richard Dawkins if he went over to Saudi Arabia or Iran and did that?
Probably dead on the spot.
He'd be dead on the spot. Okay. So the fact that he's saying it in America, he said that compliments us here. How does that compliment us here? The fact that Richard Dawkins was willing to say that in Washington, D.C., in front of 10,000 people, that compliments Christianity. How?
Our tolerance.
Sorry.
That we're peaceful.
We're peaceful. Not all religions are created equal. Indeed. Yeah. So, truth is, when we're talking about this word bigot, there's a definition of a bigot. Richard Dawkins is that. He is somebody who's angry. A lot of atheists are actually separating themselves from Dawkins because of this type of behavior, because of this angry attitude that he's got. His hate and his anger at the foundation, and we have to be focused on our end goal here. So when we face people that are like that, what is our goal? Is our goal to, do I have blanks? I think there's blanks.
Are we seeking the blank of the person?
There we go. All right. So when we're talking to somebody, if we get into an argument with someone who is a bigot, with someone who's angry with us, okay, is our goal to win them, or is our goal to destroy them?
What do we put in blanks?
I think that's it, isn't it?
Are we speaking the blank of a person? Or
Are we speaking the winning of a person or the destruction of a person? There we go. Yeah. So in Dawkins' talk, what he just did, is he trying to win Christians over, or is he trying to destroy Christians? He's attacking Christianity. He's not attacking world religions. When he says religion in that, he was not talking about other religions. He was just specifically talking about Christianity. Steve-O.
He has recently come under fire for his position against Islam. Other groups that he was invited to speak to, and he was denied because of his position on Islam, because Islam is regarded much more favorably than Christianity at this time.
Yep, I have seen some of that. Okay. Our next blanks here. A lot of times Christianity comes under fire because people don't understand Christianity. So the biggest issue here with people who don't... So the media portrays us as haters, right? God hates facts. We covered that kind of sort of last week. There's three distinct things about Christianity that is not true in any other religion. Just true in Christianity. What's the first one? The only religion that admits we are not...
Good enough.
Yep. Not good enough. What's the next one?
The only religion where you cannot earn your salvation.
There you go. You can't earn your salvation. And the only religion that died and rose again, where God died and rose again. Okay, why is this significant? There are over 1,000 different religions on the planet. Over 1,000. Christianity is the only one that has these three. All the other religions are very similar. Very, very similar. Christianity is very different because of these three things. Why is this significant? That Christianity admits we're not good enough.
Because all other religions, if you like are doing the right thing, if you're doing good deeds or whatever, then you're kind of like praised, like, way to go, you're awesome, kind of thing. And we're like, no, we're not awesome at all.
Right.
Because if you're not good enough, then you can't save yourself.
Right.
If we were, like, if we could do like a set amount of work, or if there was a checklist that we could all complete, then there would be no need of like God. There'd be no need for Him dying. There'd be none of that. We could just do it ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, that gets into the second one, earning salvation. Every other religion has you earning. If you're just good enough, then you can attain your salvation or your reincarnation. You can be reincarnated as a cow or something like that. Because cows are sacred and whatever. They're holy. Anyway, the only religion where God died and rose again. Why is this significant? Muhammad, did he die?
Yes.
Joseph Smith, did he die?
Yes.
Buddha, did he die?
Yes.
Okay. The only religion on the planet where God died and rose again. Why is this specifically important? Ty.
He defeated death.
There you go. These markers are terrible. Okay.
It shows that he's like really powerful.
It shows that he's God. So there's a bunch of people that can claim to be God, but they all died and they're done. Like they're done. Muhammad's not around anymore, and Joseph Smith and Buddha, and all those other religion starters, they are not around anymore. They didn't prove themselves to be God, even though they claim to be God, or God's chosen prophet type of thing. Okay, so there's more to say on that. We're not good enough. We're not good enough. Everyone knows this, right? Like Romans 1, it talks about it is plain. God has created this planet, and it is plain to people that He exists, and so therefore we are without excuse, right? We are without excuse to say there's no God or whatever. We're without excuse. It is plain. It is obvious. It is obvious even to Richard Dawkins that God exists. It is plain to him. So, but not only that, our conscience makes it plain to us. Right? When you mess up, you know it. When you make a mistake, you know it. And you inwardly feel like garbage. Am I right?
Yeah.
If you don't feel like garbage, what does that make you?
Self-righteous.
If you do something bad,
Crazy.
if you do something bad and you don't feel bad, yeah, crazy's right along the path. Yeah. Huh? Sociopath. It makes you nuts. Yeah. All right. So, tolerance. Our culture screams tolerance right now, right? Oh.
Tolerance for the market.
I don't have any tolerance for these markers. Okay. All right.
It is.
Tolerance. Our culture screams tolerance. There's two types of tolerance. There is, you can tolerate a person, or you can tolerate their idea. In our culture today, it used to be, the definition of tolerance meant you could tolerate a person, no matter what they're like, no matter what they, it's like, yeah, I'll accept you as a person, but I'm not going to accept your idea. But today, tolerance means if you accept me as a person, that means you have to accept my ideas too. So whether it be homosexuality or some other moral thing or religion or whatever, I have to accept that what you're doing is okay. So maybe you've seen that bumper sticker that says coexist.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's got the moon and the whatever, you know what I mean. The T is across, you've got the yin-yang thing, the Star of David, which is not that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, the
Good try.
coexist. It's saying the if you reject a person's idea, that means you're rejecting the person. No, that's not true. You can reject a person's idea and still love the person, Darby.
My mom rejects that spicy food is good, but I love it and she loves me anyway.
Oh. That's a good mom. That's a really good mom. Okay. So I think there were some blanks there. I'm not sure. Did I do that with you? Two different types of tolerance. You can tolerate a person or an idea. But rejecting an idea does not mean you're rejecting the person. Questions on that? Is that clear?
Crystal.
Rick?
Not necessarily a question, but I guess kind of a comment. Okay, so with rejecting the idea, yeah, you don't have to accept. I think a lot of people then also don't take the time to understand other people's ideas. Therefore, then they bring themselves to believe false things, and then they'll be they get mad about false facts and become bigots off of not truly understanding other people's concepts.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so let's go with the three most important questions that you're going to run across. There it is. Okay, I want to ingrain this into your brains. I want you to remember these three questions for the rest of your life, because it will come in so handy for you. Especially when you're getting attacked or when you're just in a discussion that can get heated. You know when you get into a discussion and if I'm talking to an atheist and we're discussing / kind of debating this stuff, I can get a little nervous because this could get heated. This could end up being where we get, you know what I'm saying? That can be not good. So, we don't want to get emotional and start attacking. Let them do the attacking if they want, okay? But we don't have to attack. These three questions help you maintain control and come across incredibly graceful, okay? So, first question, you've got them on your sheet actually, I need to write them down. First question is, what do you mean by that? Right? So, Joe, this is kind of funny because, was it last Thursday? You brought up the socialism thing?
Yeah.
Remember that? What was funny was, when I was in Joplin, I was a pastor in Joplin, I preached a sermon on the year of Jubilee in the Old Testament. Okay? The year of Jubilee in the Old Testament, we don't live by this today, but in the Old Testament, the year of Jubilee was once every 50 years, everybody gives their stuff back to the original owners. And so then, everything's equal again. Everything is normal. Everything's equal. So everybody has roughly the same amount of stuff. Then you can do business and either succeed or fail, and the rich and the poor start to separate more. But the year of Jubilee, all of a sudden, wham, nope, everybody's equal again. And then for 50 years you can do this, and then, so that was God's design for the Israelites, was the year of Jubilee, so that everybody kind of stays equal. You don't have a separate, different classes of people. So I preached a sermon on that, and I had a guy, older guy, about 80, 85, Jack Gaynor was his name. He came running up to me, all red-faced, stuck his finger in my face, and he's like, I got a bone to pick with you. And I said, okay. And he said, why are you preaching socialism? And I said, this question, what do you mean by that? And immediately, it put him on his heels. Immediately, let's calm down here. So when you say, what do you mean by that, it does two things. One is it gives you a chance to breathe. It gives you a chance to, I'm being attacked, we're okay. And it also forces them to have to defend themselves. Okay? It forces them to actually have to think about what they're accusing you of. Okay? So immediately he backs off and he calmed down and he goes, well, it just appears that you're trying to make us socialists. So the next question is, so the first one is, what do you mean by that? The second one is, how did you come to that conclusion? Okay? So rather than me having to defend myself, this gives me more time. So now he says, I don't like you trying to make a socialist. And I say, well, how did you come to that conclusion? And then he has to, really, I didn't even have to settle the argument. He goes, okay, I guess, yeah, you weren't. You were just preaching the Bible. Okay, thank you for your time. Appreciate that. Okay? But if they continue, you can go to the third question, which is, well, have you ever considered? Okay? And then you can give your option. When you say, well, have you ever considered, you're not coming across as pointing your bony finger in their face. You're not attacking them. They can relax. Because what people are expecting is they're expecting you to be a bigot. Right? They're expecting you to hate back. And then when we do hate back, that gives them more of an excuse to hate us. Right? See what I'm saying? When you get in an argument with somebody, you want them to get really mad. Because then you can go, see, I knew you were a bigot. Now they can label us and dismiss us. But if you remain calm, collected, together, and just very willing to talk about whatever it is that they're doing, yeah, let's talk about it, that's fine. If you do this, then they can't label you a bigot anymore. Then they have to face their own stuff. They have to face their own bigotry. Right? Okay. So those are massively important. So let's walk through this. Let's say someone gives an objection and says something about Jesus, about religion. They say, well, Jesus just taught Hindu stuff. What's my first question?
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that? So they come and they say, well, Jesus is just teaching Hindu stuff. Well, what do you mean by that? Then they have to go, what do I mean by that? Well, if you look at the Sermon on the Mount, he's really talking about a lot of Hindu ideas. What's my next question?
How do you come to that conclusion?
Okay, how did you come to that conclusion? The Bible doesn't say much between when Jesus was 12 and 30, and so I think that what happened was when Jesus was 12, he traveled to India and he got trained under the Hindu religious leaders, and then he traveled back and then started his ministry with Hindu ideas. Okay. Then my third thing is, have you ever considered? Well, have you ever considered? Have you ever considered the distance that would take? How long he would have to travel to get there? That's because he'd have to walk. There's no planes back then, so that's a long. We're talking a long way to get there and back. Have you ever considered that Hinduism is a polytheistic religion where there's thousands of gods? Jesus said, no, the Lord your God is one. There's only one God. Have you ever considered, okay, obviously we've dismantled this thing. No, he's not talking about Hindu ideas. He is very much talking about fulfilling the Old Testament law. Okay, let's do another objection. Give me another objection. All right, fine. Bad things. How can you believe in God when bad things happen in this world? What do you mean by that? Somebody.
Hitler killed babies, I think.
Hitler killed babies. He also killed Jews. And yes, and he maimed people. And okay, all right. So he killed Jews. So
how did you come to the conclusion that God let alone?
that means you can't follow God. So just because bad things happen and Hitler kills people,
Babies were like innocent.
you know, he did though too. You know, he did. I mean, the Jewish babies were killed by Hitler. So why does that then mean? Just because that happened with Hitler, why does that then mean that God therefore can't exist? How did you come to that conclusion?
God is in control and loving, and that's not a loving thing. The amount of, if he let Hitler kill all these people and torture them and murder them, then that doesn't make sense.
Right. So you're saying that because God, if we're claiming God is a loving God, that wasn't loving, therefore he doesn't exist. Or he's not the Christian God. Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Then my third thing is,
Have you considered?
have you ever considered? I understand that. Well, have you ever considered free will? And they might go, well, what do you mean by that?
Fire back.
Have you ever considered free will? Because if love is to exist, if we have love in the world, then we must have free will. Right? Because if we don't have free will, we can't choose. In order for us to love something, we have to choose it. And if we can't choose it, that means we're just robots. Right? And robots are incapable of loving. Right? Because they don't have choice. But if we have choice, then love can exist. So, if we have choice, love can exist, then maybe have you considered that it's possible that bad things happen because it's our fault, because of our own free will? Give them something to think about there. Okay? So, the three questions. What do you mean by that? As soon as someone comes at you, ever, what do you mean by that? 2, how did you come to that conclusion? 3, well, have you ever considered? Okay? Remember those 3. We'll talk about those for the next forever. Those 3 questions are so massively important. Okay. So, I'll go over one last thing, and then I'll ask you a few questions as far as what you would like to see really covered in our apologetics thing. Okay? So, let's talk about that last blank. An argument that commits
Fallacies?
Okay. Thanks for coming, dude. Fallacies. Okay. Any other ideas? We're going to go stronger than fallacies. We're going to make it more fun.
What is fallacy?
Suicide?
There we go. Suicide. An argument that commits suicide. You have any idea what I mean by that?
An argument that basically proves itself wrong.
An argument that proves itself wrong. Does anybody have any idea what one atheistic or anti-Christian argument would be that totally kills itself?
Evil exists, therefore there are gods.
Okay.
Isn't it, there is no way to know or wait, no, it's,
There's no such thing as truth.
yeah, there's no such thing as truth.
Bam. No such thing as truth. If there's no such thing as truth, how does that commit suicide?
Because you could just ask, well, how do you know that's true?
Yeah. It's so obvious. Okay, now in the Atheist Manifesto, which was a bigoted, very long article / book, the Atheist Manifesto, it talks about arguments like this. It's like, if they're smart, they'll know that my argument's committing suicide. They'll be able to retort back, like moral relativism. Oh, man, it just killed me. Anyway, in the Atheist Manifesto, they'll say, it doesn't matter. Even if you know that they can totally, debunk this, they won't. Why? Because they're dumb. They're stupid. You have to show them how stupid they are. So even if your argument isn't good, throw it in their face anyway. That way we can free them from their bondage to religion. Right? Thanks, man. Yeah, thanks for coming. So, let's look at moral relativity. There are no moral absolutes. No moral absolutes. How does that commit suicide?
That's an absolute standard.
Right. If you say there's no moral absolutes, well, is that morally absolute? Well, it's not about morals. I'm just talking a truth statement. There's no moral absolutes. Okay, fine. Let's go with that. If there's no moral absolutes, that means that is now your absolute moral. Because there are no moral absolutes, that means everything's permissible. If everything's permissible, guess who you end up like? Hitler. Okay? So somebody who has no moral absolutes, then that means everything's permissible and you can do whatever you want.
I have a question. What if someone says that morals are just decided by, culture? There aren't absolutes. It's just morals decided by, the culture that you're in.
Right. Okay. So then you could go moral relativity. Then is what you're talking about. Moral relativity. What's good for me and what I want to do and how I want to live my life, that's good for me. And what's good for you, that's what's good for you. So I'm okay and you're okay. Everybody's okay. You do what you want, I'll do what I want, and everything will be just fine. Baloney. Because if my moral relativity is that I get to throw your sweatshirt on the ground, well, now you just have to be okay with it. See? If I want to steal your iPhone, there is no moral relativity. No. There are moral absolutes. We have a God-given conscience. Sorry for throwing anything on the floor. Actually, I'm not. It was fun. Okay. So, let's end here. You guys tell me, what are some things you really want to talk about with apologetics? Anything that you really want to expound on, hear more about, things like that. We've got kind of sort of a list here. Anything that you really want to tackle? Steve-O.
Character of God, how he came about deciding what was moral.
Okay.
Does God exist? The existence of God? That should be easy.
Okay. Existence of God. What else?
Religions that are really close to Christianity but aren't like Islam and Mormonism and religions.
Jehovah's Witness.
Okay.
The fruit of God.
The fruit of God? Okay. Okay, that makes sense. What do you mean by religions that are close to Christianity?
Like the ones that say, well, this is the true way. Like Islam says Jesus is a prophet. Like, can we disprove that he's not just a prophet?
Yeah.
Comparative religion.
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
The argument that, if we were born in a different country, we would have that religion. Like, if we were born in Arabia, it would be Islam. Or if we were born in, India, we'd be Hindu or Buddhist.
Or those who never hear.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to put it under this. Muslims are sincere. Not only were they just born there, but they're so sincere. I mean, they pray like 5 times a day and very loyal, way more loyal than American Christianity. That is true. What do we do about that? That's good. Anything else?
Is Christianity relevant today?
Okay. Anything else? David.
So in the case where there's like an argument and it seems like we might like lose, like we're losing, what should our response be? If it's not, for some reason I meet somebody who is like, well, who knows what he's talking about? Like for instance, I can argue with Richard Dawkins because he probably he knows more than I know.
Right.
So in that case where it seems like I'm losing in his eyes, but I know it's true, what should I do in that to like our response?
Good. What if I'm losing the argument? Okay. Okay. All right. Say what?
Persuading an agnostic.
All right.
What was the biggest one? I forgot the word. Like it was
You can keep this one.
Thanks for coming. All right. Okay. For the poop. No, fur. That's how my E's look. That's how I write my E's.
I tolerate you as a person, but not you.
Oh yes, I'm sorry.
Nice. Jared.
The atheist thing of like the invisible spaghetti monster, like how do we know if it's God or invisible spaghetti monster? Like,
Yeah. No, that's good. I like that. That's fun.
First time I've heard of that. It's a term
I've never heard of that.
That just makes me more hungry.
All right, let's have lunch. Anybody who can't have lunch, we're meeting up in the cafeteria together.
Yes, sir.